Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our banter, where we talk about the story Cicada narrated for the week, what parts we liked, and what we didn't like about it. Cicada, why don't you start us off with your reaction to the ending?
Absolutely. And I don't put this lightly. Genuinely didn't see it coming. I just, that thought never crossed my mind that everything that was there purposefully. And then
Yeah?
even the old man didn't expect him to be that important and become the main driving factor of the story. I assumed the boyfriend became the main driving factor when he showed up.
No, no, no. He definitely just got brought in to the slaughter. I mean, the girlfriend brought him into a horrible situation, and I don't even think for a real reason. She was scared because there was a scarecrow and then brought that boy to his death.
Yeah, I mean, to call him knowing the rules and then to not explain a single one of them or to not lead with any of the stuff that she had seen, just leading him to be cannon fodder.
It was kind of diabolical on her end. And then for her to watch her boyfriend get dragged into the fields, and I know she had said she reacted on instinct. I feel like you've got to know it's something out of this world. I wouldn't run in after.
Yeah, Cal, I appreciate you and I appreciate you being here with me. If you ran into those corn or into those sunflowers, I'm not going in. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you don't even gotta worry about it, Cicada. I got three stomachs for a reason. We're already starting off early with our animal fun fact.
I thought it
Um,
was 7.
again, check those comments, baby. We'll see who's right, cow or cicada. I'm going with three. I think I know my own biology. Seven's seven's a bit too high,
You
but
might be
uh,
right.
but I would be able to eat all those sunflowers, even if they are little aliens who would pull me into the void.
Trying to eat you first.
Yeah, they don't stand a chance. But back to the story. How did your feelings on the Gershons change from reading part 1 and 2 to 3 and 4? Cuz in
Yeah.
the
Yeah, in the beginning, I definitely gave them the benefit of the doubt, thought that they were struggling with more anomalous entities that they had just found workarounds for, and not that they were cursed because they absolutely screwed some lady out of her money and then were just, in fact, screwing people over and getting them killed for fun.
yeah, I mean definitely shitty people. And I think that's one of the key points I love about this story is not till I think even like part 4, you have zero idea that they deserve everything that's happening to them.
Yeah, I read it. Obviously, we did this as 2 parts, but it is a 3-part story. So if you are reading it, even at part 3,
It's a 4-part story. I'm going to correct you on that one.
what did I say?
You said a 3-part.
Oh, my bad. Yes, a 4-part story. I do apologize. So even as you read part 3, you still just don't know anything about them. And as I read part 3, I kind of got the feeling that it was like this big. I was still really going off the whole anomalous entities kind of thing, and curses hadn't even crossed my mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely, the author, I think there was enough buildup to where, as long as it wasn't something, I know this is kind of ironic, but something too out of this world, they could have thrown anything they want. And the whole curse avenue, because they screwed over a widow, I mean, that, I think the author did amazingly implementing all of that.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Definitely not something that I am used to seeing in the horror stories that I read, and I think that it was a pretty good breath of fresh air for BlairDaniels to do that. and kind of pick a new genre to go with. And it allowed her to paint the Gershons as bad people instead of just misguided.
I love the way you put that. You've got away with words, Cicada.
I do try. I appreciate that.
On a on kind of a different note than the Gershons, I want to hear your thought process of like did let's talk about the pig. Were you expecting that route for the pig to be all of the people who got sacrificed to the field? Not all of them, because in the story it said only some people stay. But how did you think that the pigs became human? Did you think it was the curse or the sunflower field? What was your mindset going into it?
It was. I did kind of believe that it all sort of hinged on the sunflowers or the cornfield, and that the sunflowers were changing these people that went in there. I didn't expect them to be eating them, but they were changing them, and they would come in as a person, leave as a scarecrow or a pig or something of the sort, turning them into farm things instead of people.
Yeah, and I mean, not that I guess can understand. Maybe you could shed some light on this, but it's not everyone. I wonder what makes people special in that matter to be turned into a scarecrow or a pig, or do you think maybe if you're not a scarecrow or pig, you become a sunflower, and there's just so many sunflowers?
So you can you can disagree with this if you really want to, but this is the one benefit of the doubt that I'm giving the Gershons. Their rules are there, and if you follow the rules, nothing happens to you. They don't actively want people to have this happen to them. And I think a good example of the fact is that it is a set amount of things that the farm holds because obviously the old man had to trade Emily and her boyfriend for his daughter and grandson.
Okay, but I mean, they're still if they're not evil people, the Gershons, why are they having dirty cops come and kill the human pigs? They full well know that they're human. I mean, I know there's not anything they can do to make them not pigs anymore, but do those people who did succumb to the sunflowers deserve to die?
Not at all, but I believe that if they're leaving these sets of rules, I'm going to play hard devil's advocate here. I don't think I agree with myself, but I'm going to play hard devil's advocate. Those rules are there. I firmly believe that if you follow those rules, you are okay. So those people actively read the rules for this large sum of money and disregarded them. And those were the consequences.
Yes, but Blair mentions in the story that everyone in this town knows there's a curse, and they specifically only use people who either single mothers is what they mentioned, like immigrants, people who are just showed up to town, or people who have no other choice. Why would you be conning the lowest of the low into working such a dangerous job? And with the people who don't know, like the out of towners, I feel like you have to warn them of like, hey, these are rules. I know they sound weird. There's actual consequences. Like you will lose your life.
Yeah, totally agree with you coming from. If I gave you a set of absolutely wild rules and said, by the way, if you don't follow this, you'll die. Here's 2 grand. Are you taking that?
No,
Exactly.
definitely not.
Exactly. And with the desperate people, you kind of roll yourself into almost your own argument's rebuttal because everybody in town knows. And if you're the Gershons who toil on this land day in and day out. Don't get me wrong, they're still terrible people. They are still incredibly bad people. And if you owned this plot of land that was cursed and you finally figured out how to make it work, but you need a break and you don't want to risk your life every single day, but nobody in town's going to work, and suddenly little Miss Emily comes in, she's new to town, and you say, "Hey, you want to make a quick 2 grand? Follow these rules, you'll be just fine. Get after it, big dog."
I guess I have to agree with you. I mean, I guess that's kind of one of those loopholes for me. I don't know if Emily's from there. I feel like she should have known that this was going on.
It's not explicitly said that Emily is from there, and I think I had made that point in our banter last week, but I don't think she is explicitly from there, so maybe she doesn't know. And that does lead her to be able to be brought in and make poor choices.
Okay, I guess I'm kind of under the assumption that she is because her boyfriend is only a 30-minute drive away, and it doesn't sound like they live together. And I mean, I guess maybe they're both just out of towners who happen to meet and start dating.
Maybe they were long distance and she moved over there to meet him, but I guess we could sit here and kind of talk about the Gershons all day, but I don't want to, keep going in circles and are they bad people or are they not? I think we can both totally agree that they're not good people, but they're not good people in an even worse situation.
I could agree with you there, Cicada. I, I think there's better ways to handle it, but they're doing their best with the resources they have at the end of the day.
I agree. And I think that, you know, even though everything happened to Emily, I think that had the old man not been there, it would have been okay because he was the one slinking around, and then he went around the sunflowers. But I think that overall, it would have been okay. And kind of getting to there, you asked me how I felt about the story, but how do you feel about it? I know that you said you read it before, but how do you feel about, how it ended?
I think the ending overall, like part 4, amazing. It was a great way to wrap it up. The last kind of like ending of the story, kind of meh. Her boyfriend turns into a scarecrow almost instantly, and Emily is then ending this story by saying like, I see my ears and my skin is turning pink, like basically describing how she's turning into a pig, and it's getting harder for her to type because her fingers are spreading out. Like, I love all that description, but it just kind of felt like it pulled away from the story just to bring Reddit into it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I liked the ending. I liked the way that everything happened. And I say this, I hated the way the old man did them, but that's a good thing. Like I thought that was so dirty to just lie and cheat them like that. But I do agree the ending, you know, he's just suddenly within sub 2 minutes a scarecrow, but she's able to type this all out and bring out her message. I do really appreciate the fact that she just turns into an absolute D1 hater.
Oh yeah, hating on every. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
That's fair. If I was getting turned into a 90% pig, 10% man, I'm probably also a D1 hater.
There's nothing, and it is. I imagine because there was no like kid pig hybrid. She's 100% turning into a pig in a matter of time. So at that point, I'm hating on everything. I'm hating on everyone because I think she knows the outcome of as soon as the Gershons get back, I'm getting carted away by the police.
Absolutely. And there's no way she's getting around that because if you think about it, she's in the house.
Yeah. It, like, really chose a bad place to turn into the pig.
That was kind of one of my biggest gripes was that Emily really was just like the hopeless helpless girl in a horror movie. She made all the wrong choices actively.
Yes and no. I mean, she never knew the real consequences to the rules. Okay, when you were reading this, was that the first thing you thought? Like, if she doesn't follow this, she's gonna get turned into a pig.
Obviously not that badly, but I mean, I'm reading it from the perspective of somebody who knows they're reading a horror story. Something bad's going to happen if you don't follow the rules.
Yeah, fair enough. But that's her day to day life. Like, that was just a job for her. It wasn't a horror story. It turned into one. That was a quick $2,000 right there.
I
That she,
guess sorry, not to just cut you off, but I guess what I mean specifically, like the wrong choices she makes, it's when you're watching a slasher film and you see the protagonist run towards their house and they run inside and they slam the door and they immediately hide under the table and you're like, what are you doing? Her boyfriend runs into the sunflowers. She runs in after him. What are you
yeah.
doing?
I feel like there was a couple things she could have done instead of calling her boyfriend immediately. Maybe call the police. She's got reason enough to believe that someone is putting up scarecrows in their field that the owner said that they don't have. So someone's fucking with her. Um, and I feel like you call the police, wait for them to come out. If they don't come out, like in part 1 and 2, because, they're crooked cops, I think that's a different reason, a different red flag. Like, maybe this area is not safe for me and I should leave.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, even then, with calling the cops, the rules say don't look outside at night. And once you get inside, if you see a scarecrow, you go inside and you lock the doors and you close all the blinds and you don't go back outside until the next morning. Once again, she runs inside. She calls her boyfriend. She brings another party into it that doesn't know what they're doing. It's just, it's very horror movie mentality to me.
Fair enough. And I think, you know, dogging on Emily, that was really, really stupid of her. As a story element, it makes a lot of sense. High emotions, you want comfort. And like she says, her and her boyfriend, they had a couple laughs, they watched some movies, and if he was never there, he never would have looked out, or if he was never there, she never would have looked out the window. And everything would have been okay till the next day, in the same creepy stuff that's happening, but no one would have died, been turned into a pig or a scarecrow.
Exactly. And I guess as an upside of every time, I don't like to just dog on a story. So as an upside to that is I believe that this story would actually make a very good film.
Okay, like what are we talking about here? Short film, like a YouTube film, or you think expand on it a bit, make it a movie theater film, like an hour 30 minutes?
Yeah, I think you could do an hour 30 minutes of this film. Um, I think you could probably do 50 minutes of the ominous stuff is wrong because there's enough that happens in part one and part two, and even a little bit into part three. You could kind of expand on some of the dialogues, draw out some of these things because it was a 40-minute ish total narration, and that's
Okay.
you add in cinematic cuts and sequences, and I think it makes a very good movie.
You know what? I'm picturing in my mind, like her doing the day-to-day tasks and just you as the watcher, like seeing that one sunflower in the field trace her throughout the
That
day.
was exactly what I was thinking. Was as she's like, she goes over to the goats and you kind of pans to the sunflowers and you can see the one sunflower turned that way slightly. And then she goes to the chickens and it says that she likes to spend time with the chickens. So she spends a little more time there. And the camera kind of like pans through the chickens and off in the background, you can see like a yellow outline with a big black dot staring at the camera.
Oh yeah, kind of have it as like ominous. And I feel like even in a film that wouldn't like tip you off as long as you don't have the sunflower like closing its jaw. It wouldn't tip you off at what the sunflower is, just that it's tracking her. And I think you could build up a lot of like not hype. What's the word? Mm,
Suspense.
suspense. Thank you, Cicada. But like as a viewer, just watching her do the normal farm tasks while constantly being tracked like prey.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you can see it that way because I do think that this would be a really good movie. But, Cow, it is getting a little late now. We do have to start bedding down the animals. So, with that, it's the end of the story. And you know that I wanted to start us off with the first episode giving it a rating. And I would like to give this one a rating as well.
I love that idea. I think that will be a staple of our channel.
Wonderful. Um, I can go first. I think that Rules of the Farm for me, I know that we call it Rules of the Farm. I accepted a job at a farm that had some odd rules, and I don't believe it's worth it or something along those lines. But
I am just gonna quickly correct you on that one. I'm
please
taking
do.
care of a local farm for a few weeks. They left me a strange set of rules.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I could not remember it for the life of me. But I think I would give it a 8.4 out of 10. It's good. It's really good. Very good story. Great build up, great reveal, and then another reveal on top of that. Um there were some parts where the writing got a little choppy for me and like Emily kind of was just like the horror movie main person kind of thing. The wrong choices. I wasn't a big fan of it. I think that it does make a great movie and made a good story. I personally am not a fan. And her turning into a pig at the end, turning into the D1 hater, like run for your lives, that to me was just very okay. So an 8.4.
I similar to the reasons you had, more of I really like her being the classic horror film chick, making all the wrong choices. That I kind of enjoyed it fit. Um, more the D1 hater letting all of Reddit know not to go to this farm. I'm gonna give it a 9. Just a little bit more than you. I think I enjoyed that aspect of the story just a bit more, her making the wrong choices, because it led to such a great ending sequence.
I agree. I agree. I can definitely see that perspective. And I think that just the writing of it maybe got to me more because I did say that I really liked it. So I think more the way it was written and how it played out got to me a little bit. Not that it was bad in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, I rated this higher than the first one we read because I think that this was a very good story.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a great story. But on that note, Cicada, it's time to bar the barn doors and rest for the night. Thank you all for listening to our banter, and we'll see you next week with a different story.
Good night, everyone.